guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sarah, and I thought I would kind of give myself a little bit of a break this week, kind of take things a little bit easier on myself. So we're gonna read my TBR, or as much as I can of my TBR over the next week. So if you missed that video, I do have my February TBR up and available to watch if you want to go back and check that out. I can link that down below. But today is the 11th of February and it is a Tuesday. And so I have decided that I'm just going to kind of focus on my TBR for this week. I just finished up editing my random number generator TBR Jar challenge, which was a lot and it was very stressful. And I've had a lot of things going on at home and I've been sick and I'm finally starting to feel better. So we're just gonna kind of take a step back and I'm just gonna read the books on my TBR. So if you missed that, I will kind of do a quick recap of what I've got on my TBR. So first and foremost, I have The Tide of Black Steel by Anthony Ryan. This is a high fantasy. This book just came out, I believe it was in September, for a new series by him. And I'm really excited to read it. I haven't read anything by him yet, but I'm really excited to pick it up. I also have Fathom Folk by Eliza Chan. This is a debut fantasy novel. This is the first in the series, and I'm super excited to try it. It has sirens, sea witches, kelpies, and kappas in it, which automatically caught my attention. And so yeah, I'm really excited to read this one. Also, it is an absolutely beautiful cover, if I do say so myself. So this is the next one I've got on my TBR. I also have The Half King by Melissa Landers. Beautiful sprayed edges, and I've also got the really pretty end papers, and look at that shine. It is so pretty, such a pretty book. I haven't really heard a whole lot about this one yet. I know I've seen a handful of people pick it up, but I don't think I've heard a whole lot of thoughts. I feel like Melanie Reeds might have talked about it, but I don't remember what she said because I kind of zoned out after I got this book. But either way, I am really excited to pick up this one as well. I have been reading a lot of fantasy here lately, so I mean it's good and bad. It's good and bad. I don't want to like completely burn myself out with it, but it's also kind of what I'm in the mood for, so I'm not totally mad about it either. Not to mention the fact that I just did this to myself last week, so it's my own fault if I don't get into these books. But I also have to kind of change things up a little bit. I have The One by John Mars. Super excited to read this one finally. I've heard so many amazing things about this book, and I don't know if I've ever heard of anybody not liking this book, or at least that I've seen. So I'm really excited to check it out. This will be my first John Mars, and I know that he's supposed to have written a lot of really great books. So I am excited to pick this one up. I'm hoping that it gets a little bit darker than what I expect it to, which I feel like it might for what he writes, but like I said, I haven't read any of his books yet, so we'll see. And then last but not least on my TBR is The Husbands by Holly Gramazio. This one is for a booktuber favorite, which this is on Books and Lala's favorite books of 2024. I believe Sydney from Sid Bookworm has read this as well, and she also really enjoyed this. I don't think it was in her top 10 of the year video, but I think that she still gave it 5 stars if I remember correctly. I don't remember for certain, but I'm pretty sure it was on her 5-star one that she gave 5 stars too. Anyways, I am super excited to read this one. This one is basically that she comes home, finds a husband, that she was basically that every time this husband that she has goes up to the attic and comes back down, it's a new man. And I was under the impression that this is that it's somebody that she knows from some point in time in her life. Sorry, my daughter is telling you her stories as well. I was under the impression that this is like it's somebody that she knows them, but I don't believe that's the case. So I'm super excited to pick this one up. And so I'm gonna see what I can get through by this time next week, or I guess by Monday of next week, because I have another video planned. I'm gonna see what I can get done with this in the next like 6 days. And we're just gonna kind of see how it goes. So I actually have started The Husbands this morning. I started it at like 4:30 this morning, and I am already 58 pages into this. Okay, so basically this book starts out that our main character, Lauren, goes to a hen party and she is single. And then when she comes home that night and she is drunk, something changes, and we don't know what, but something changes where she now has a husband at home that she has been married for, I think it's like 4 months or something like that. And she has no clue who this guy is. She has no clue how he got there or what happened with their relationship or anything. She doesn't know anything about him. And so she's like, how did I get here? How did this happen? How the heck is this guy in my house? And so she's trying to figure out what the deal is. And then not only is she married to some stranger that she does not know, every time that her husband goes up to the attic, when he goes to come back down, the man is different. It's a different guy. Different man, different husband, different everything. Different past relationship. Their history has changed, the apartment has changed, the husband has changed, her hair changes, like whatever the case may be. Everything changes. She's got a whole new life, whole new husband. And so she has no idea what's going on. I think at this point she's had like 7 different guys swap out, because like the first one went up and she didn't know what was gonna, like she was freaked out just for the fact that it was a husband to her in general. And he goes to come back down, so he changes once, and then after that she kind of like sifts through a handful of them, just kind of testing it out to see how it works with the attic. And then the next guy that came down, it was like the 6th or the 7th guy, and he was just kind of an ass. He was just kind of angry and bitter and just kind of a jerk. And so she tried to trick him into going back up to the attic, so that way she could swap him out and get somebody else. And so now she's with this guy. His name is Jason, and he runs, I believe it's like a gardening company, and I think it said that they met through like a friend's party or something like that. And so she's like learning about him, learning about their relationship, and just it kind of reminds me of The Midnight Library, where she just kind of gets thrown into a point in time and then has to figure it out from there. It's kind of like that with the way that the time thing is working with the husbands and stuff. It's kind of like that. So I am really intrigued, and I'm really enjoying this so far. It definitely just throws you right in the middle of it. It doesn't really hold anything back. You just kind of start in on this, and you're kind of along for the ride with her to figure out what the hell is going on. And so yeah, it's been really interesting so far, and I'm really enjoying it. It's definitely way different from what I've been reading here lately, which was totally needed, totally a good thing. Definitely a good change of pace. So like I said, I am up to 58 pages in this so far. I did edit my random number generator TBR Jar challenge for January this morning, which is why I haven't gotten further in this, is because I have been editing for hours, and now I'm going to start posting that. But I'm going to continue reading this. Like I said, I'm really enjoying it so far, and so yeah, I'm really curious to see what happens next. Also, I didn't realize this, because everybody always like shows you this cover. I didn't realize it. This book is a beautiful, beautiful purple color, which I don't know. I was so excited when I seen that. I did not realize it. I wasn't paying attention, obviously, when I got this book. But yeah, so definitely a fun surprise for me. But I'm going to keep reading this, and I will check back in with you when I make some more progress and have some more thoughts. And we'll see what kind of reading I can get done this week, kind of give myself a break. So I will check back in with y'all later. Okay guys, so we are once again at the bus stop, and it is 4:45. So after I finished editing my video, I did do some more reading in The Husbands by Holly Gramazio. I am up to, sorry, the glare, the sun, you know, that time of the day. I am about a third of the way through this book. So I'm up to 107 pages in, and I'm really enjoying this book. I'm liking it a lot. So it's basically that she's able to swap out husbands as she chooses, having them go up to the attic to get something for her or whatever, and when they come back down, it's a new man. And so she's sometimes she'll send him back up to the attic quickly, and then other times she lets him stick around for a while. And what I'm thinking of is because she doesn't have any memories of the relationship with these men, or how their relationship started, or how they got married, or their wedding, or anything like that. She doesn't have any memories of that. So in that way, it's kind of like the Midnight Library, and it makes me think of that. But it also, with the part that I'm at, it kind of made me think of a line from Letters to Juliet, the movie with Amanda Seyfried in it. And there's a part in that movie, if you know that movie, then you'll probably know what I'm talking about. But the grandson, Charlie, tells Claire, his grandmother, that he goes, you know, he's like, you went from a man who works the fields to a man who owns them. You skipped all the messy bits. And she stops and she tells him, you know, life is the messy bits. And that's the line that I thought of with this book, because she's having all these guys that she can swap out at will, but she has no memories of their story of their life together. It's little moments that really make up the relationship. It's watching, you know, your husband interact with your kids. It's hearing your husband and your daughter laugh together, watching your husband teaching the kids how to fish, and even just in the relationship prior to the kids, it's little things like being able to hang out and watch a show together and waiting for each other to watch that show so you can watch it together. It's sitting in front of the fire during a power outage and just enjoying the fire together and falling asleep on the couch. It's being able to look for your first house together. It's just all these little things, it's these little moments. It's the dreams of how your life is going to be and how your life is going to turn out. And it's all those little moments, and there's good moments and there's bad moments, and that's just what being in a relationship is. You can have things happen that there's little things in relationships that your husband could piss you off to no end, or you could piss them off to no end, because you're just, that's how it works. And she's not getting that because of the fact that she's able to just swap these guys out like nothing. She doesn't have that with any of these guys. And so it's kind of sad to me in a way with reading this, because like you kind of get your hopes up that she's going to find somebody who is a good fit and who will be good for her and good to her. But at the same time, like, it's kind of sad because she's missing all those little moments. With my husband and I didn't have a big wedding. We got married at the courthouse. And so we were actually, when we got the call about setting up our wedding date, we were actually looking at a property that we were interested in buying. We were looking at a property, and the call came in, just a random spot of service, because where I live, service is extremely spotty, and you never know if you're going to have service or not. But it just so happened that my husband had service at that time, and he got the call when we were looking at this piece of property, and it actually was setting up the date of and time for us to go to the courthouse and get married. And that's something that I remember even now. We're almost coming up on our 9-year anniversary from when we got married, and I still remember that to this day. And it's just one of those little moments that you remember. And if you don't have that, you don't have the groundwork that is your relationship. See, my husband and I, we started dating in high school. We started dating in our senior year of high school and had known each other for years. And we've been together ever since. So him and I have been through a lot of growing over the years, because we've gone from being a couple of teenagers to being adults and having a family and having responsibilities. And we've done that together. And so, like, as infuriated as we might get with each other, I wouldn't want it any other way. And So it just kind of makes me sad for her in this book that she's not having these opportunities with these guys. She doesn't have the memories. She doesn't have that relationship, that groundwork for these relationships. She says that she recognizes that they are all guys that she could have potentially been interested at a point in time in her life, but she doesn't actually know any of them. She doesn't have a past with any of them, except for at one point, like, her ex shows up, which she sends him straight back up the stairs, or straight back up to the attic. But it's just one of those things, like, it kind of makes you sad for her. And so I'm really enjoying this book. Like I said, I'm about a third of the way through it, and I'm flying through this book. I'm not wanting to put it down. I'm reading it like crazy, and I'm just absolutely loving it. I'm so glad that this is the first book that I decided to pick up. So I want to say a huge thank you to Kayla from Books and Lala for recommending this book and having it in your top books of the year, because I'm so glad to be reading it, and I'm so glad that I took your recommendation. So I'm going to continue reading it tonight, and I probably won't check back in with you until tomorrow, but so far we're off to a great start, and I'm really, really happy with this book so far, and thank goodness, because I've been on real rocky ground at the end of this week. If you are going to be watching my random number generator video or have watched it, then you will understand, but it's been a rocky end of the week and over the weekend. So I am extremely glad to be starting this video off on such a great note, and I'm very excited to continue reading. And so yeah, I will talk to you guys tomorrow. See ya. Good morning, guys. So today is Thursday, the 13th of February, so tomorrow is Valentine's Day, and I have a little bit of an update for you here this morning. I finished The Husbands last night by Holly Gramazio. I am giving this book 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. I liked seeing all the different husbands and the different things that bugged her, and it's just very relatable. I think there's just like little nitpicky things that she would send them back for, and you know, and she thinks of it as like, you know, if I have this many choices, I mean, why not be nitpicky? But it gets to the point where she ends up being just overwhelmed by the possibilities and no history that she remembers with these people, and she keeps saying throughout the book that life is moving on without her. Life, you know, her niece and nephew are growing, and people are changing and getting married and all these other things. Like, life is moving on around her, and she's kind of just stuck in this rut because of these husbands. And I felt like the reason I'm giving it 4 and not 5 is because I felt like my interest kind of petered out in the last like 50 to 100 pages, where like I was really enjoying the majority of this book, and then like just towards the end I kind of started to be like, okay, now what's gonna happen, you know? And so I feel like my interest just kind of petered out, but I still really enjoyed it, and I gave it 4 stars. I liked the way that it ended, and well, more or less. I felt like the ending was a little bit rushed almost, and it leaves it open-ended to where like you wonder what could have happened with the ending in the way that it did. So like I do like that, but at the same time it just kind of felt like it was very abrupt, and so that left me just a little bit unsatisfied when I finished this book. So overall I did really enjoy it. I give it 4 stars. And so I officially have 1 book done for my TBR today. And so yeah, I'm really happy about that. I also read the first chapter last night, and now I've read another 3 chapters. So I'm on chapter 4 in The Gate to Kagoshima by Poppy Kuroki. So if you watched my video, I guess my video that's going up today, it was my random number generator TBR Jar challenge that's going up today. I told you guys that I specifically said in my TBR video that I wasn't going to go out and buy a book for my book treat prompt. However, the very next day I ended up going into Barnes & Noble, and I found this beautiful book right here with the sprayed edges, and it's absolutely gorgeous. And this one is basically like an Outlander meets Last Samurai type book, and so it really, really intrigues me. And so I've read the first 3 chapters in this. I'm not sure how I'm liking it yet. I feel like comparing it to Outlander is a bit much, because I absolutely loved Outlander and I really liked the way that that was done. But so far, this book is following Isla Mackenzie, and she is from Ireland or Scotland. I don't remember which one. One of those two. I think it's... Yeah, so this is following Isla Mackenzie, and she is from Scotland, and she is doing a year abroad for school in Japan, and she wants to look into her Japanese heritage, her family history. And so she goes and is in Japan, and somehow or another, she finds herself going back 128 years. Now, I'm at the point right now where she is back in time, but she doesn't know what's going on yet. So she's completely lost. She doesn't understand. She thinks she's basically in like the Japanese equivalent to an Amish village. And you could definitely tell that the author is pulling from her own experiences with being Scottish, having Scottish home and heritage and whatnot, because our author, Poppy Kuroki, she was born in Scotland and now lives in, or it says that she lives near Tokyo. And so you could definitely tell that she's pulling from like her heritage. Also, the ancestor that Isla is trying to find, his name is Hisakichi Kuroki, so same last name as her. So you could definitely tell that the author is pulling from like her own experiences, which I think can be a really good thing for having such a specific like Scottish to Japanese comparison. I think that can end up being a really good thing, but we'll see how it ends up playing out. Like I said, I don't really know what to think of this one so far. Right now it's a little bit much because there's a lot of Japanese names, and so it feels like it's a lot of names right from the beginning, which always is a little bit hard to follow to start with. But I do like her writing style, and it is pretty easy to follow for the most part, so other than the name thing. So I am not hating it, so that's good. I'm going to try and keep reading this today, but I do need to get to town because my daughter has a doctor's appointment this morning. But I wanted to come on and update you. So this one should go fairly quickly because it is only 290 pages. I am very, very excited to see kind of where this goes, and like seeing the acknowledgments in the back because of the fact that the ancestor has her last name. I'm really curious to see kind of what her notes are about that and why she made those choices, because if it's something that's related with her family history, I think that would be really interesting. So I'm really excited to keep reading this. I am going to swap this out probably for my book treat, which is why I'm reading it now, obviously. If you didn't catch on to that, because I don't think I said that, I had pulled out the Half King out of the jar, but since I ended up going the very next day and buying a book, I think it's only fitting to read that book for the book treat. So I am going to get to town and start getting my things done, but I'm going to read here and there where I can, and I will come back and give you an update once I have some more thoughts on Gate to Kagoshima. Okay, good morning guys. I apologize because I have my truck warming up right now, but I wanted to come on and update you. So it is now Monday. It's the, what is it, the 17th? Yeah, the 17th of February. And yesterday I did finally finish Gate to Kagoshima by Poppy Kuroki. I ended up giving this 3 stars. It was very much Outlander meets The Last Samurai, the movie with Tom Cruise, to a T. That's exactly what this book is. If you enjoyed Outlander and the plotline that it follows, I think you'd probably enjoy this. However, I read Outlander and I absolutely loved it. I gave it 5 stars and I flew through it. I felt like this one wasn't done as well. I felt like, at least for me personally, I think it was because of the Japanese names that I didn't really feel like I got to care about anybody. I didn't get super invested in any characters, and not as much in the storyline because of that. So I thought it was a really interesting story, and I thought she did a really great job with it. However, it was just a little bit too, I don't know, there was just too many Japanese names, and I had a disconnect from the characters. So I had a disconnect from the romance, whereas with Outlander, I was all in for Jamie Fraser and that whole package. I was all in for that, whereas this one I felt like I just didn't quite get there, but I still thought it was really well written. I would like to continue on in this series when it does continue. I still think this is an absolutely beautiful copy, and I really wish I would have loved it more, but I did end up giving this 3 stars. So still really good, and I still really liked it. Like I said, if you like The Last Samurai and if you like Outlander and you want just something kind of short and sweet, I think this would be a good option. After I finished that yesterday, I picked up Sid and Sparrow. I didn't want to put it off any longer. I just got it on Friday from my pre-order, coming in the mail, and so I got this on Friday, and I was so excited to pick it up. I wanted to pick it up immediately, but I wanted to finish this one first. So I picked this up yesterday. This is the third and final book in the Ruinous Love series by Bryn Weaver, and this one is following Fionn and Rose. This is the youngest brother of the group, and I made it up to, I'm 256 pages into this now. So I read like 228 pages or something like that last night. So I read over 220 pages in this book yesterday alone. So I am flying through this book. I am about 2/3 of the way through it, and I'm loving it. I don't think I love it quite as much as Leather and Lark. I really loved their banter and just their whole story and their situation. This one, I'm really, really enjoying it as well. Just not quite as much as the second one. But I already have a whole bunch of tabs in here because of just this book cracking me up, like the drug-addicted raccoon that they named Barbara, for instance. It's got the same sense of humor, the same fun, and the same kind of grossness, I guess, as the first two books. So it's just been a blast. I'm so excited to be back in this world of Bryn Weaver's with the brothers, and I'm having a great time. So this one technically is not on my TBR, but I didn't want to put it off reading it, so yeah, here we are. So I'm going to try to finish this today and then wrap up this video for this week because I have other plans starting tomorrow morning. So I'm going to keep on reading this today, going to town, have some errands to run, chores to do, and whatnot. But I will check back in with you once I finish this with Sparrow to give you my final thoughts and my final, most likely 5-star rating. It's been a 5-star series for me so far, and I don't expect that to change. But I will check back in with you guys later on once I get done with it. Hey guys, what's up? It is now Tuesday. It is the 18th of February, and I finished Sid and Sparrow. So I didn't say a whole lot about it before, but this book is following Fionn and Rose, and Rose is an unaliver, according to the series, so she is a serial killer, and Fionn is a doctor, and they just kind of randomly meet, and he feels obligated after she breaks her leg. He feels obligated to take care of her, and their relationship kind of grows, and they basically come to an agreement that it's going to be like a no strings attached kind of thing because she is part of a circus, and she has every intention of going back to that circus once her leg is healed and kind of moving on with her life. He's not prepared to be in a relationship after he got his heart broken a while back, and it's just following their story. And I absolutely love this book. I loved the first two books in the series, Butcher and Blackbird and Leather and Lark. This for me is a 5-star series, and that is no different because I gave this book 5 stars as well. I feel like every book I have progressively put more and more tabs in the book for just things that make me laugh or things that are really sweet. This book, I even tabbed a couple of spots where I did tear up a little bit. I just absolutely love these. I think they're so much fun. It's kind of like a dry sense of humor, like I think of Deadpool sense of humor, just because it's just kind of a dry, you okay? It's just kind of a dry, dark sense of humor, and I am all for it. I absolutely love it. This book hooks me as soon as you open it up and you see her, I guess you can't really see that with the sun shining in, but with her content and trigger warnings list, I love reading that. It cracks me up every time I see it, and it just made me so excited to read each and every one of her books. So, like I said, I gave this 5 stars. So let me grab my other 2 books that I read this week and kind of go back over what I've accomplished. Okay, so to wrap things up, I started out the week reading The Husbands by Holly Gramazio. I gave this book 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. The ending just kind of fell a little flat for me. I was hoping for just a little bit more. I was hoping for it to pack just a little bit more of a punch for me. Didn't quite get there, but I really enjoyed this. I thought it was very similar in vibes to like The Midnight Library by Matt Haig, which I read that one and I loved that one. And this kind of gave me the same vibes, just with her kind of being able to jump between husbands, just like in Midnight Library, our main character is able to change like one thing in her life and see how it plays out. So that one kind of gave me vibes of The Midnight Library, and I really enjoyed it. Like I said, I gave it 4 stars. And then I read Gate to Kagoshima by Poppy Kuroki. I gave this one 3 stars. I thought it was good, but I was pretty disappointed just for the fact that it was, to me, almost like fan fiction of like Outlander meets The Last Samurai, almost to a T. And there just wasn't enough differentiating the plot line in this and the plot line in Outlander. And I thought Outlander just kind of went more in depth and it just hooked me so much more. But I still think this was a good book. Like I said, I gave it 3 stars. These 2 books were for my TBR. I had The Husbands for a booktuber favorite, so I did accomplish that one. And then this one I swapped out for my book treat. I said I wasn't going to buy another book. Next day I went and I bought this one. So I did count this one as my book treat for my TBR. And of course, lastly, I read Sid and Sparrow. This one technically is not part of my February TBR. I could fit it in as like a book treat or swapping out Gate to Kagoshima as my most recent purchase, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to count this as the fact that I really wanted to read it. My pre-order came in on Friday. I started this book on Sunday, and now it's Tuesday, and I finished it first thing this morning. I absolutely loved it. So overall, I think that was a pretty good reading week for me. I read 3 books for this video, and so I'm really happy with that. So if you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, subscribe down below. And have you read any of these? And what did you think of Sid and Sparrow? I know some people love this series and some people are just kind of meh about it. But like I said, I love this series so much. So if you enjoyed this, please let me know. And I will see you next week for I think this is my March TBR. Holy cow. But I will see you next week for another video. Bye.